Welcome to a CLNS breaking news report. We got Celtics news flooding in here at noon on a Friday. Danny Ainge quickly getting back from Chipotle, I guess, to get this one done. The Celtics rebounding issues, I don't want to say they're solved, but they'll be helped. Greg Monroe, 1 year, $5 million. He will be in green starting, I think, tonight, right? First game's tonight?
Sure
I don't know if he'll play tonight.
They have
but
48 hours. The NBA Players Association gives you a few days to show up.
Yep.
The point is he's here. We are here. I'm Alex Barth. I'm joined by Nick Gelso and Jimmy Young. And I think that the one question everybody wants to know, because we saw the picture, we've seen the picture of Hayward without the boot. Does this affect whether or not they can bring back Hayward? Nick, right before we got on, you were looking at the numbers, so why don't you kind of let us know financially what this means?
Yeah, I mean, $5 million. They still have. Thank you. They still have $3 million left on the exception. And even if they use the exception, that doesn't mean that Hayward couldn't come back anyway. I just don't think he will come back. I don't think it's a smart move.
I don't think it's necessary at this point in time. Now, if they happen to get to a 7-game series in June, even that's going to be tempting. And it's almost like it's not worth it, because you do need timing and you have to get acclimated. It's going to be a lot easier getting him acclimated to the team next year, because you have all the preseason and an entire 8-month season.
I mean, this is we're going to talk here about Monroe, but as far as Hayward goes,
he brought it up.
Yeah, I think his value is just as good on the practice court as it is on the game court, because what he could do for the experience of the youth of the Celtics, just having his intensity and him having to guard him in practice would be great. But back to Monroe.
Let's go.
This
go
doesn't
there.
solve the Celtics' rebounding issues, but it certainly helps.
Well, it doesn't solve it. The proof will be in the pudding here. I hate to use a cliche, but look, we all have seen him play.
Right.
He is the wide-body rebounding machine that the Celtics have been missing for 5-10 years. I mean, really and truly, you got to go back to the big three in 08.
Right.
I mean, they need. Every time they played the Pistons, when it was Monroe and Drummond, the two big guys, that was a horrible matchup for the Celtics. Now you take one of them and put them on your roster. Now you can play with the other teams out there that posed you big men matchups.
Not only that, you could put Al in a position where he's more comfortable, and that's the power forward position. We've seen how well he plays point guard.
Right.
Without
Floored with the
Irving
triple-double.
on the floor. And it frees him up to be more in his natural position. And really, it's a win-win, I think, for the Celtics. You don't lose here. And you saved a couple dollars to go after Tyreek Evans. That could still happen, guys.
And I actually just got a text from a friend of mine who's a Pelicans
My phone
fan.
is blowing up
And
right
he
now.
just said, congratulations, Boston finally got the Pelicans big man they've been wanting. But
A little bit older than the other guy.
I do like how you mentioned Al Horford, though, because to me, Al Horford, and this has kind of been discussion since Al Horford got here, has been the biggest question mark since term of evaluation for Celtics fans. There's the argument that he's not putting up the numbers of a max deal guy. There's the argument, as you guys shake your heads, that it's beyond the numbers. And I feel like this will allow him to play more, like you said, play more within his game. And we will really get to see now the value of Al Horford. And I think the production in the box score will start to match.
I don't know. It's 2-on-1 on this one. Al Horford's the MVP of this team.
No, I know he is. What I'm getting to, I probably took to build up to it. It's going to start showing, I think, now in the box score, because he'll be able to play more within his game.
Possibly, but I don't know that it has to show in the box score for him to be the MVP of the team.
No, that's true.
Stuff that he does, you don't see in the box.
Right.
I mean, he's a tremendous passing big man. He sets great screens. My biggest frustration with Al, and I don't know if you share this, Nick, because this is really the first time we've talked about the Celtics.
Right.
I want to actually have them run more low post plays for him.
Yeah,
because I think he has a really nice touch.
Here's the problem, Jimmy.
You get beat up down there.
Well, and there's no low post game anymore.
I know that.
Al Horford with his back to the basket is a beautiful thing, because he draws a double team, and he's an amazing passer. And he's long. He can see over defenders. Yep. For a while in his first season, Stevens was going to him in the post, and it was all right, but the game has just evolved past that.
Yep.
Hopefully at some point it gets back to our style of basketball, I think, which is the big man play.
It's the outside in instead of the inside out game, which we can debate at another time. The role of the 3-pointer in basketball, how it's evolved, the percentages have gone up, all that neat stuff. But now you do have that low post body.
You do.
you got a
You have
body.
big body in the paint.
In fact, you put him with Aaron Baines,
Yeah,
there's
scary.
some serious banging.
So that's a great question. Who's going to start on this team? Is it Baines? Is Morris going to be this? I mean, Morris, I think, has had 12 consecutive games of double-digit points or 20.
Can you please tell me that he's okay? I understand it was a bad hip bruise.
It was a hip, yeah.
That
hip
scared.
pointer. After the
I want
game-
to tell you something. I was watching from a watering hole, and the blood went out from my face when I saw him crash like that.
Yeah, I mean, it was a hard fall. But at the same time, I mean, the Garden went silent, as you know.
Right.
I mean, but at the same time, after the game, he seemed to be...
It was more shocking.
Yeah, he was more shocked. He didn't know whether the injury was going to be long-lasting, and we've seen he has a little fragile at times, you know. But he did say he was more concerned, I think, about the fact that there was no foul called than that.
I was absolutely beside myself when they showed him getting whacked in the head.
And then they
which
called
caused-
a breakaway foul. But anyway, back to Monroe. Who starts for the Celtics
Well,
now?
let's go through the numbers here real quick. He started the season with the Bucks. Greg Monroe played 5 games, all of them off the bench, 16 per. Then he gets traded to Phoenix for Eric Bledsoe and some other names. Started 14 of 20 games there. He played more minutes though, 24 minutes a game. Part of the reason, right, he wasn't happy in Phoenix because he wasn't getting enough minutes. By signing him, do you have to start him now to keep him healthy? I think he has to start simply because I think he will start simply because I don't know if he would have signed here without that guarantee that he's the primary 5.
I don't think Brad Stevens cares. I mean, first of all, let's put it this way. It was a trade. So signing is not an issue. He's coming, right?
Monroe?
Yeah. It was a trade.
No,
right?
it was a signing.
it was a
He was
free
bought out yesterday by Phoenix.
on a buyout. So you're right. It's possible, but he may have come anyway because Brad Stevens changes up the starting lineup game to game.
Right.
It all depends on who the opponents are. If you're Monroe, you're in a position similar to Evan Turner was so many years ago where you need a rehab, almost like a rehab of your career. And Brad Stevens has been the best at that, getting the best out of players that we've seen struggle or maybe have attitude issues.
Yeah.
Brad Stevens has done great with that.
It's amazing. That's his gift, by the way, and I think
his gift.
it's really special to have him as the coach of the Celtics. But I'm going to say something here that will definitely show my age, 60. Red Auerbach, it wasn't who started the game. It's who's on the finish. And in other words, and I'll tell you what, a lot of people, when Marcus Smart went out after he missed that shot at the end of the game and he punched the wall, punched the mirror because he was so upset, he is important to have on the court at the end of games. I don't want him taking shots either, okay? He's one of those, no, okay.
Okay, yeah, well, you're exactly right.
Well,
and when it's early in the game and he launches one and hits one, you're like, oh,
there
son
are
of a
4
bitch, because
better
now he's not
shooting
gonna
options
start.
on the court, no matter who's on the court with him
Right.
at the end of a game. But he's important because
he
he's a
is.
smart player.
What this does for the team defensively, though, you mentioned having guys like Marcus Smart and Greg Monroe, and now Marcus Smart can play defense without having to solely assume that kind of tough guy role because Greg Monroe can play that role. And
Baines could play that
Baines
role.
can play the role. And when you talk about the starters, Brad kind of does a team to team. The one squad in the East that's always given me pause, and they're not the best team in the East besides the Celtics, but matchup wise, the Bucks. Right, the Celtics have had a lot of trouble with the Bucks the last couple of years.
Always have, even back in the 80s.
Yes,
the
they
Bucks
did.
Used to give them
There was a guy named
That's
Allen.
showing our
There was
age.
a guy named Allen that played pretty well for them.
They didn't have a guy named Giannis Antetokounmpo.
You know.
who plays fairly well.
What he's done specifically against the Celtics is go to the basket. I wonder if Brad puts Baines and Monroe on the floor
you
at
bring up a
times
good
to
point.
kind of seal off the paint.
Well, no, I think I think you're right. I think at times you need those 2 big bodies on the court, and that has been a weakness of the Celtics on this roster.
And again, it's dependent upon the opponents because obviously they're going to have a hard time getting back on. They're not going to be the quickest squad, right?
Right.
Getting back on defense. But the other thing we're underestimating here is the 5-6 fouls that are allotted to Aaron Baines just got a little bit less
Spread out.
Yeah, right. So because now you have more fouls, more hard fouls you can give, and that's great to go against a guy named Giannis or LeBron or Durant.
Yep.
You know, where they need to get knocked around a little bit.
What you're seeing already, I mean, Danny, Executive of the Year, we all know this.
Oh,
okay,
fantastic.
Not
Even
even they should
Red.
retire. Right, retire the award. Okay,
Right.
but what he's done now is he turned his roster around for the regular season. Now he's adding pieces for the postseason.
Does it sound like P.J. Brown? A little bit?
Ooh.
Oh, great analysis.
Ooh, I
Great
love
job.
that.
I love that.
You guys want to take some questions from YouTube? Some people
Sure.
watching on YouTube? So
Yeah.
the first two replies, not questions, but I'll say this. First two replies say we just signed Banner 18. And I don't know if it's that much. And Nick, we talked about this right before we came on the air. This is from German R on YouTube. Does the Monroe signing trigger any possible trades now? And I think the name everybody's looking at is
Marcus Smart, probably. Is that where you're going at?
well, I'm thinking guys coming in is Evans.
Evans, right.
And what this said, they still have the money, you said, right, to sign
to
Evans.
be able to put towards
Or trade
Tyreek
for Evans, right.
Okay, so, and that's part of the DPE. And yes, Hayward, he's not going to, but he could still come back if they're going to ask that question next. He's not, though. But yeah, I think it does maybe do that. And I think Marcus Smart is also very expendable right now. And pregame, before the Knicks game, Brad told me outright that he's not even had a chance to talk to Danny about what's going to happen to Marcus at this point. So something's going to happen here. There's more than we know. Danny's either going to sign Marcus on the cheap or trade him now, get rid of him, and bring in, and not that Marcus could eat value for value, could bring in Tyreek Evans. That's not true, but, part of that puzzle.
So,
bring him in.
And I mean, wasn't even thinking about this, but is Marcus Smart the most expendable player on the Celtics right now?
When you, I don't like expendable. I don't like
Not
that word.
expendable,
Valuable.
Not even
enough
valuable.
That will give you
the
something
top
in
of the
return.
trading block. Is he on the top of the
think
Celtics
so.
trading
Because
block
of his
right now?
contract.
His contract. But Danny did the exact same thing. Let's not forget with Rajon Rondo. He opted out. He waited until Rondo went for free agency and then matched the offer. And really, he's probably going to do the same thing with Marcus unless something valuable comes up at the trade deadline, because Marcus' value is so diminished now. He'll match any offer that anybody's going to give him.
Right.
How much did Marcus Smart punching whatever? Would he punch a
Whatever.
picture?
We don't know. Yeah,
How much did that hurt his value?
I think his value was dropping, and I think it's now a maturity issue. You're thinking, is he a head case? Which I do not think Marcus Smart is a head case. Every experience I've had with him, he's been a gentleman. I think he's frustrated.
So
he was frustrated at that game, guys. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know about
And
you.
the criticism.
I don't know about you guys, but in my athletic career, when I screwed up like that, I hit something too. Now,
Nothing broke, but
Nothing
you hit it.
broke. That's right. Well, no, let's just leave.
I had a Seahawks fan cave in my bedroom door after Super Bowl 49. That was a fan. So we got a couple more names coming in here because obviously and we're recapping the breaking news. The Celtics have just signed Greg Monroe to a 1-year, $5 million deal. And we have a couple other names coming in that are interesting. Tony Allen is one. He was bought out today.
Tony Allen, I like that.
That would probably be veterans minimum. It's a sign. It's not a trade.
I am not a Tony Allen fan. Keep going. I know you are. I just no.
We talked about Tyreek Evans a little bit. Lou Williams. Where do you guys stand on Lou Williams?
I like Lou Williams.
Yeah, well, I don't think he's going to be. Do you think the Clippers will get rid of him? Really?
Well,
Isn't he their leading scorer or something?
I think the Clippers are
yeah,
imploding. Now,
yeah, no.
here's the thing with the Clippers. We need them. The Celtics need them not to make the playoffs.
Right, they need to bottom out.
Exactly, so bottom out. Right?
So I like Lou Williams in theory,
I do too. I don't
but
think that's realistic.
I think you have to give up too much at that point. You give up less for Evans, and I'd rather have Evans for the price. Here's the other name, and this came across this morning. Supposedly, this is the first time this player has been put up. They're exploring the trade market for him. I would love to pair this guy with Greg Monroe. Is Aaron Gordon?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's a big name for the deadline. Yeah. That's probably more like an off-season move, but I mean, Marcus Smart seems like a good place to start. Mm-hmm. You have the picks from let's just, how realistic is that?
Unrealistic.
You don't think? You don't.
Good job, Nick.
That's all right. Lou Williams is very realistic either. I think.
I do too.
Yeah, I mean, and again, the Celtics have exceeded all expectations this year. The Celtics already have. Someone named Gordon Hayward coming back next year. They've already acquired
their team is going to be a contender next year, hands down, no matter how this season ends.
And I think they're a contender, maybe not for the championship, but for the finals this year. Right. So to completely blow it up by bringing in what would be great talent, but possibly disruptive talent, I don't know.
But how much would you need to blow it up? Because the Magic probably won't want players; they want picks. If you can center that around Marcus Smart and picks. Right, there's a reason they're looking to move him.
Right.
So that was an interesting name when I saw it come across today.
It's very interesting. I don't think it's very realistic.
He in a way, and I mean to use the term poor man's, he's a very good player, but a poor man's Blake Griffin in a way. And to see Griffin dealt in the price Griffin got dealt for, now to see Gordon come up, I mean, it wouldn't be pretty, but I think the Celtics have what it takes to get him, whether it be at the deadline or in the offseason.
Who do you have more trust in right now from an executive standpoint?
Great question.
Danny Ainge or Bill Belichick?
Oh,
That's where I was going.
In Bill, I trust.
Right, I understand that. But as a coach, if anything, he's opened his...
What he did with Garoppolo,
yeah,
and I don't want to get into football too much.
Right, I know.
I thought this was going to be my break from football.
Ainge would never have. He would have traded Brady. He never would have traded Jimmy.
I thought this was going to...
Am I right?
I think that... Yes, I think you're right.
Or he would have convinced Brady to come back for less money if he really
different sport. Different sport.
The non-guaranteed contract is a pain in the neck, even though at that level with the bonuses and all this.
This may be the first time ever I have mentioned the NFL on my own network.
I'll take responsibility for that.
Well, you have the football guy, and I will say check out our Patriots Super Bowl coverage
Good job.
On CLNSmedia.com, at Patriots CLNS on Twitter. We just put a new roundtable up about an hour ago.
I got to say this. Can I just, because Trags is Mike Petralia, at
Yeah.
Trags on Twitter, the craziest reporter and the most talented in the world. And the reason I say crazy is because he's everywhere. He's heading out tonight to Minnesota to go cover the Super Bowl, and I just got a text from him saying, I have some Red Sox coverage for you. Can you edit it for me? I'm like, aren't you on a plane?
And you can check that all out
You are on a plane?
on CLNSmedia.com.
Exactly.
So before we wrap it up here, if you guys have any more questions on YouTube, feel free to get those in for us. We'll talk about that. But Greg Monroe, now a Celtic. I do love X's and O's talk. It's my favorite kind of sports talk. X's and O's talk. How does he as a player, his style, fit into Brad's system?
Oh, perfectly.
I've been hogging, so go ahead.
I mean, no, but I agree with you. You should be hogging. You have your own Celtics show, you know.
But I am in your studio.
Yeah, I know that, and I am older than you.
Now with my tone of voice, I kind of sound like Dan Lothian.
Hey, you know what? I'm going to take advantage of this. I saw Bill Russell play more live than I saw Larry Bird.
Did you see the picture of Bill Russell, Chauncey Billups, that's been going around Twitter?
No, show it to me.
Chauncey Billups sitting there politely smiling. Bill Belichick, Bill Russell's inadvertently giving the camera the finger. It's hilarious.
Oh, that's funny.
Real?
Yeah, I think it looks very real. I'll pull it up here. Hang on. Keep talking.
Very long fingers.
How does Greg Monroe fit with
in the Brad Stevens system?
Yes, 100%. Because there wasn't anybody with his skill set that is comparable on the Celtics roster.
Not only that, think about it this way, Jimmy. Brad Stevens wants to run, right? What triggers the fast break?
Defensive rebounds.
And what are the Celtics lacking?
Defensive rebounds.
So this is where Greg Monroe, if he can remain healthy and with a good attitude, he can make a big impact. Are the Celtics on the road to banner 18 because they picked up Greg Monroe? No. But I think that it's definitely a big help.
It's in the conversation, though. The banner is into the conversation.
Once you get to the finals,
right? That's right, man. So it'll be fun.
All right, I want to close on two more YouTube comments here. First off, somebody telling me that I look like Brad Marchand. Thank you very much. I had that same conversation this morning.
That is not a compliment, Alex.
Sorry. I've seen the people Brad Marchand's partying with after games. I'm totally okay with that. I am totally comfortable with that. This is actually good. Real quick before I get to the last question, Terry Rozier trade bait? Yes or no? After his triple double, sell high.
I don't think Danny's moving Terry Rozier.
No. Okay.
No.
So this is the question.
He's on a rookie contract.
Yeah, why would you do that?
Yeah,
until he has one or 2 more years. Yeah,
he's a bargain.
This is the question from Andre. He actually just asked it twice. He wants to make sure we get to it. Andre Houston on YouTube, and the NBA is all about silly season. Right. The off season is much better than the regular season.
For ratings,
I'm not sure what this move has to do with it.
Maybe baseball, by the way.
Maybe Andre Houston thinks that this is what puts the Celtics to a title. Is there a window for LeBron to come to Boston?
No.
Okay, I wanted to make sure we got to that.
Nope. I'd rather have Anthony Davis and LeBron at this point.
Before we cut, let me ask you this. Everybody's been. We did a filming segment at the Garden. I actually had to put it on unlisted because I never got attacked so bad because I will be honest. I forgot that LeBron had a no trade clause, and I said, Dan Gilbert, grow a set of balls, trade him.
Oh, 100%.
Okay, so now wait, he has a no trade clause. So why doesn't now he's already scheduling meetings with the Warriors? Why doesn't Dan Gilbert sit down with LeBron and say, LeBron, you care about Cleveland, you care about the city, you care about the state you grew up in. Give me your 5 destinations you want to go to. Let me go out and find something that we can get of value in return, so Cleveland is not piss poor for the next 10 years. LeBron leaves looking good. The Cavs look good. Everybody's happy.
And if not,
sports, that's why it won't happen.
Well,
Egos in sports.
Yes.
it's LeBron's league. LeBron's more the owner than Dan Gilbert is.
Yeah, well, the inmates rule the asylum in sports, and certainly in the basketball. Look, there's only 15 guys on a roster, for crying out loud. You know, that's why it's difficult to compare that sport to just about any other one.
And, and also, I think the humanity in basketball is really, you see the players' faces, you see their expressions.
So here's a picture, by the way, of
that's
great. Real. That is
Bill
real.
Russell.
I love it.
Show the camera here. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see that from there, but
too. I mean, come on.
So what is
that's real.
I love Bill Russell.
Oh my God.
Love him.
So anyway, as we wrap things up here, Greg Monroe to the Celtics, 1 year, $5 million, and
Larry H. Russell must be thrilled. For 3 years on Celtics beat, now he's retired. For 3 years, though, he said, "Bring me Greg Monroe."
Didn't he just stop doing Celtics beat too?
Yeah, just a couple weeks ago.
So he just missed it. Should have hung out a couple more weeks. And I did see one person say this. They said, this I'm now convinced the Celtics will beat the Cavaliers in the Eastern Conference Finals. I'm interested that this is the thing that puts people over the top. But
the Cavaliers lose the series.
I don't think the Cavs are making the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Jimmy Toscano brought it up again during one of our Garden segments, is the Cavs are the scariest 7th or 8th seed in NBA history.
Because of him. Because of him. Because they have the best player on the planet on the roster.
What fans need to look at right now is is LeBron coming out every night trying to get a triple-double to get the team back together, or is he sitting back, and we know right now they just suck, but is he sitting back and resting and waiting for the playoffs?
Resting.
If he's resting, all bets are off, man.
Or
the Cavs could beat anybody.
Yeah, don't want to play in the first
third
round.
option
Is
he resting to be fresh for when he not for the playoffs? Is he resting to be fresh for this offseason when he signs a deal and make sure he doesn't get hurt?
He doesn't need to be. He could be in a cast and they'd still sign him.
I know we're trying to wrap up. One more thing here, and if you guys don't have to go anywhere,
I'm fine.
I just
got to cover a game tonight.
I have no life, and I have no life.
The Celtics are playing the Hawks. Maybe I won't go. Hey, did you hear Dwight Howard got a tribute video down at Phillips Arena in Atlanta?
Oh my God!
Why would he play 60
enough with the
them?
tribute video? Enough with the tribute videos. Enough with the.
Going to retire his number too?
You need a tribute video.
Yeah.
It's such an NBA thing. The tribute. I still am waiting for the Luigi Datome, for the Gigi Datome tribute video. Nobody else except Paul Pierce should get a tribute video until Gigi, the Italian LeBron Datome, gets a tribute video. Anyway, back to the question here on YouTube. Are the Celtics the best defensive team in the NBA?
Yes, absolutely.
For sure. I think,
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. When they want to be, by the way. When they want to be. Because defense and rebounding is all about effort, guys.
Yep.
It is. And you can't take a possession off. And that, I'm going on a limb thinking Mr. Stevens has said that before.
I think so.
That's the one thing that gives me pause with Monroe is he does have a history of having an effort problem.
Well, yeah, and so did Dennis Johnson. But here's I just threw that in there. So
before he got to Boston.
Right, but here's the deal.
Red's not walking through that door, Jim.
Red Auerbach's not walking through that door. Casey Jones isn't, but you know what? Brad Stevens is there, and he's already rehabbed several players. More than Evan Turner. They can't come to the top of my head right now, but it's been several players that have left Boston and gone on to have an impactful role on other teams or have gotten big contracts and not played quite as well because they're missing the Brad Stevens effect. People don't understand the Brad Stevens effect. So Monroe, and I can guarantee you this, if he doesn't listen, Danny will get rid of him really quick.
Well, this is a very low-risk contract.
Yeah, I mean, it's totally low risk.
I wonder
if he had to be on the line. You could only sign him. They have to re-sign him at the end of the year because they're using part of the DPE or whatever.
I wonder if they get that back, that injury money back if they cut Monroe. I don't know enough about the NBA cap to know how that works. I can't imagine they would. By the way, I don't know if CLNS is going to get into merch. You almost just dropped a great line for a T-shirt. Danny Ainge is walking through that door. I think I would buy 5 of those.
Well, you know what? Maybe we'll start doing merch.
That's great.
I like
That's
that
actually
one.
Danny Ainge is walking through that door.
Not, but Danny is.
Oh, that's great.
Here's an interesting one on YouTube. Somebody just playing with floor combinations here. Greg Monroe and Daniel Tice on the floor as your 2 big men.
Love it.
I love that.
Love
because
that.
Tice it could be quick.
Yep.
He's proved he can stretch the floor a little bit.
Stretch the floor. I love that. I like that more than Baines and Monroe. I think Baines and Monroe might be a bit clunky.
It could be. Well, they're going to be slow.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. They won't be winning any races down the court.
One question that is everybody kind of grimaces to ask Brad pregame is, so what's the starting lineup? Or ever ask, is he going to be a starter? Because Brad's answer is always, it doesn't really matter.
No,
and it
doesn't
changes
matter.
game to game. The
Right.
only thing that's
I like that,
guaranteed
too,
is
about
Al
it.
Horford, Kyrie Irving are going to start,
As long as they're healthy.
and Jalen and Jason at this point.
As long as they're healthy.
And I'm just looking at Monroe's stats here, and this is interesting. And you think of him as a defensive player, right? He's never averaged a block a season. His highest is 0.8, but multiple times he's averaged over a steal a game.
He's a play changer. He's a shot changer. He may not be a shot blocker, but his presence changes shots. It also changes offensive plays because people will get a little thing twice before entering the lane, and we have needed that. The Celtics have needed that since getting rid of Perk 10 years ago, 8 years ago.
That's right. That's right.
I do see a little bit of Perkins in
I was going to
Monroe.
say the closest analogy is Kendrick Perkins.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Cool.
So if nobody has any more questions on YouTube, we'll wrap this up. For Jimmy Young and Nick Gelso, I'm Alex Barth. You can
Stay tuned tonight because we will be at TD Garden covering the game, so we will have information definitely on Monroe. There'll be a lot of talk from, I don't know what Danny or Brad are going to say, but they'll probably say something. So stay tuned to CLNSmedia.com.
CLNSmedia.com, at CLNS Media on Twitter to get all of the Celtics coverage, everything happening tonight. Mind if I throw in the Patriots stuff as well? I've been working all day.
Are you kidding
At
me?
Patriots CLNS on Twitter. We have roundtables going up all day. Trags will be in Minnesota tomorrow. Super Bowl pregame show Sunday at 4:30 on the CLNS YouTube page. Make sure you check that all out. Bring you Boston sports here. One day, one signing, one game, one championship at a time, right?
I like all that.
All right, it's another T-shirt. One
There we go.
championship at a time. There we go. For Nick Gelso, Jimmy Young, I'm Alex Barth. Greg Monroe, Boston Celtic. Enjoy it.
Well, tonight just became a little bit